Good afternoon, everybody. We are gathered here again at Bathurst, Mount Panorama in Australia. This is going to be a endurance race, 110-minute race total. They're going to be going through qualifying very shortly. We're just at the end of free practice. Just a couple tidbits to note is that Bathurst does have 23 corners, and everybody knows when you're going up that hill, it is the most brutal part of it. The S's. That's the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th corner are all very tricky to maneuver before the dipper going onto the forest elbow. As well as the chase, which is the 20, 21st, and 22nd corner. It's that hard breaking point around, I believe, 110 on the meters out there, and then trying to get down to that left-hander. We are going out for qualifying. Qualifying is actually a 15-minute qualifying session, so that's good news for these drivers, as they're definitely going to need it. Let's get on board with somebody who's out front. And like always, that is Josh Willis of Panzer Wallmotor in the Porsche. Car number 22 has been, consistently one of the first drivers to go out on quali. So it's good to see that he's out there. He's going to be trying to perform. We are on the out lap though, so we'll be taking a brief look at where we're at in the standings. Just a quick transition. We have a Team Adidas Parlay in P1, Ness Motorsports in P2, and they're in that Google livery that you will definitely see on track. Panzer Wall Motors in P3, Southern Star Motorsports is in P4. Then we have Flying Lizard Porsche, IDRF, DIR Racing. That's with Ed Kerstetter in the Demetrius and Demarcus Rogers brothers. Path Motorsports in 8, followed by BRB Racing in 9, RHD Racing in 10. Morton Salt McLaren, followed by McLaren Motorsports in 11 and 12, Omega Racing, then Iron Force Racing, Azuri Racing, Incident Collectors, Avanti, and then Turtle Tracks, and then Underdog. Followed by Josh Willis in the GT3 driver standings. He is holding P1 with 289 points. Then Riley Manier, Ed Kerstetter, McKeesey, Pickrell, Drolleman, Sundar, Burkhoff, Lindauer, Mitch McConnell. And there's not a lot of points separating the top 4 drivers. They're really in close contention, so it's anyone's game still, whether or not they can get to those the highest spot there. Especially with Bathurst, getting good position means you're going to be in the good strong standing. Then slowly going down the charts, we have Raza, Goupel. Crow Havenborn has changed his name, so he is now Friedrich Goupel. Daniel Caslassi, Jay Allen, Wassam, Free, Provolone, Miller, Knotis, Moscato, Freeze, Cassian, Iber, Engelman, King, Barrio, Vassal, Bravo, Spool, Jin, Barrera, Mansilla, Morrison, Otto, Orozco, Train, Chen, Kayat, Shurik, Rose, Oak, Vandy, Harris, both the Roger Brothers, Buckley, Chan, and Ward. All right. Retransitioning back on, we are on the flyer lap for this qualifying. As Josh Willis is doing fairly well. He has a driver ahead of him, but I don't think that's going to cause a lot of traffic. We do see there's an incident going through up the hill there. One of those drivers has just returned to the pits, and that was McKeesey. And there you have it. Wow. Josh Willis goes the fastest I've ever seen him go. He does a 203.9. That is mighty impressive from Josh. We have Riley Manier about to go across the line. Or maybe. Yep, here we go. That's Ray Frias. Riley Manier goes fastest with a 202.4. Ed Kerstetter does a 203.8. We have Goupil across at a 205.1. Provolone 205. Ray Frias 206. Andy Oak 208. I think some of these drivers are jumping into the pit lane to change up their setups a little bit. We'll just plop over race control here. Take a good look at this. Now, keep in mind, the green for the Delta is their negative towards their best time. So they're trying to get higher, faster than that. We have Riley Manier already, who's already 4/10 off of his best time. And then we have Ed Kerstetter already 7/10 off his best time. You know, he's just slightly behind him, and that's actually going to be way more interesting because we're going to be seeing a really fast pace out of this driver that might even overtake the position of Riley Manier, even though Riley's going faster right now. We have Josh Willis, who's exiting the pits to go back on another outlap. 9 minutes left to go. We still have a lot of time left to see what shakes up. We have Ali Raza in P11, Provolone 10. Becco is a new driver to us, so he's going to be in P9 starting this quality already. Then you have Wassman P7, Snyder 6. Aaron Free was a very fast driver off the start of the practice, so it's awesome to see he's still up there in the top 5. Mitch McConnell of Pfaff Motorsports has gone P4. What an impressive feat, and he's already 5/10 off of his time already. Ed Kerstetter's 1.1 seconds already. What's up, Eric? F22 Face. That Ace, that livery is pretty great. The 949 Sim Racing livery, it looked a little odd before, but I fixed the livery, and there we have it. It is going to be going across the line 1.1 seconds faster. I don't know if that's enough, but he just gained 2/10 off that corner. Now he's at 1.3. He goes across. He's still P2. He's got to make up another 2/10 to get faster than Riley Manier, as Riley Manier did improve overall on his best time going across that line as well. We have Aaron Free already 5/10 off his time. Ooh, we have a car in the wall. That is going to be Becco, one of the newer drivers that just joined us. Aaron Free is doing exceptionally well. He's 8/10 off his time. He's going to be pushing across the line, looking to be in the P4 region, I believe. Hasn't lost time going through that corner. That's great news. He goes third fastest. Look at that. We have 203.7 out of Aaron Free, the Flying Lizard Motorsports. And we have positive deltas for Riley Manier and Ed Kerstetter, who are unable to capitalize on their next lap. And they will definitely not be going too much faster. Although, I said that a little too soon, as looks like Ed Kerstetter gained. Oh, he lost time through the S's. Now into the dipper. Riley gained time going through that sector, as Ed lost 2/10. Another impressive driver is Daniel Kaslassi, who's about to be going across this line. That is the pit straight. And he's going to move to P3 for Southern Star Motorsports, Daniel Kaslassi. That is great to see. They needed the points. They are P4 in the team championship, so they definitely needed that that pole setter right there. Let's hope that he can maintain that. As we have Riley Manier improves his time, but still a 202 flat. Aaron Free over here, who's still pretty good. 5/10 off his time. That will put him in P4. He's only going to gain a couple positions off of this this run, but that could be all the amount you really need. He lost a little bit of time going through that straight. Gained it back going through the corner. and we still have a lot of drivers that have not put in a qualifying lap. We have Jet, who's out on an out lap, as well as Vandy on an out lap. Scrolling back up here, we have Aaron Free, who came across, only gains one position off of it, and that's P5 for him. We have Daniel Cass lastly going faster this go around. He is, there's a yellow flag right there. That is car number 24 of McKeesey. Diego Moscato is in P6. He's going faster right now. 2/10, 3/10 off his time, 4/10 off his time. Wow. Loses a little bit of time already. But this is the S's for you. You could gain and lose a lot through that sector. Wow, Ed Kerstetter. Where is he at right now? P2 for Ed Kerstetter is he has a 5/10 difference from his last lap. He's pushing through that pit lane. That pit straight, I mean. And look at him going across. He's going to improve his time. Wow. He goes a 202.049. Riley Manier did a 202.052. That is absolutely insane. Those drivers are held up by fractions right now. There is very little time separating these drivers, as Riley Manier has gone faster through Sector 1 and 2, but Ed Kerstetter pulled off a faster second time in Sector 3 by almost a full 10th. It doesn't get any better than that. Ed Kerstetter leading this with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left. He is going to definitely be sitting in some... I don't even think this is going to be traffic for him, because McKeesey is a very fast driver, a driver that I think Ed Kerstetter is familiar with, so I don't believe that there's going to be too much of a hindrance on total time, but he is invalidated his lap, as well as Becco is also off right there. We have Ali Raza in P8 right now. Provisionally, he is 3/10 faster right now, and that is mighty impressive. I didn't even see this last lap. Diego Moscato pulls in at P3, and then Barrio at P4. Both of those drivers of the BRB club are now sitting comfortably in the top 5 for their team. That is great news for them. Aaron Freeze still P7, Provolone P9. Josh Willis is on an outlap, holding P10. He has not improved his time since we last saw him cross the line first. Ali Raza did not improve either. He stayed P8. Diego Moscato now really showing how that Silver Arrow goes through this track. He's pushing ahead with 3/10 off his time. It's a lot. He goes across the line and he improves overall, but he's a full 5/10 difference to Riley Manier. We have Aaron Free, who actually, wow, he just lost a lot of time going through that corner. It looked like he was about to improve. Overall, he was 3/10 up, and now he's not. But we do have Jason Provolone of Southern Star Motorsports. He is also going to be trying to get in a good lap here. He's 8/10 off of his time right now. Just a quick heads up, some of these drivers that are sitting in the pit, we do have quality bans. So everyone that would be able to know, we have Lindauer with a quality ban. He's serving tonight, as Reggie King is also serving a quality ban. Richie Geralman is also serving a quality ban, as well as Matt Morrison. Matt Morrison is my color commentator for the GT4 series, and he's also just not here right now. So, and then So he's unable to serve his penalty, but will have to eventually. And then Edward the Train also has a quality ban. And then Riley Manier is about to round this corner into the straight. He isn't going to be able to improve his time. But Daniel Caslassie is. He goes across. P5 for Daniel Caslassie. And Jason Provolone right behind him. That is going to be very special for this this team. That is Southern Star Motorsports holding P5 and 6. Diego Moscato and Barrio were split. Moscato still holds P3, but Barrio went to P8. We have Ali Raza of the RHD Racing, P4, and then you have McKeezy of Ness Motorsports in P7, followed by Aaron Free, who's in Flying Lizard Motorsports, and then to round it out, you have Cronidas in P10. Josh Willis improving upon his time, actually, right now. So he's 7/10 off his time. He's got Aaron Free ahead of him. Quali is ending. Only the drivers that are still out there are going to be able to complete their final lap. Josh goes across the line and holds P9. He pushes Chronotis out of the way. And now Riley Manier, who, wow, is actually trying to have another go at his time. He is 3/10 off right now, going through the dipper. He's lost a little bit of time. Wow, he lost a lot of time. That is 2/10 difference right there, just going through one corner. But he doesn't need much. He just needs enough to... Right now he has 0.175. If he crossed the line with that right now, he would be provisional pole sitter. P1. And Ed can't challenge him back for this, so it would go to Riley for the fastest lap. And unfortunately, through Sector 3, he just lost a little bit of time, and he's unable to manage that, and that's one way to end quali. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our race ready and squared away. Whoa! Wow! Look at that. It would not be a fun race without a little bit of wet. And there you have it. What a spectacle. I don't even know where to start. Let's get into this. Let's take a look. We have a wet race that's going to be continuously wet, followed by plus signs of it just staying wet. And that's the double rain, so it's going to be pretty heavy. Track is wet. Temp is 17 degrees on track and, you know, around. And then the winds are at 7 kilometers an hour. Look at this. New addition to the 949 Sim Racing driver here of Ed Kerstetter, sitting on pole next to Riley Manier in P2 of the Adidas Parlay. And then we have a wonderful sight. We have the BRB team, BRB Club. They are sitting in P3. And then, where's that? P8. But split between the Southern Star Motorsports, which is a beautiful livery on its own with that Bass Pro Shops. We have Ali Raza in the RHD Bentley, or Boatley, as some people would like to say. And then there's the Ness Motorsports of McKeezy. And there he goes in his livery. And then we have Josh Willis in P9. And then Aaron Free with the Flying Lizard Motorsports. Josh Willis is the Panzer Wallmolder as well. Good, nice livery there. And Pfaff Motorsports is in P11. And then Adidas Parlay right there in 12. Cronotis. Yeah, there you go. And then got a minute and 18 seconds left. Just going through some of the liveries here before the start of this race. That is Constable Cody Wassam, followed by Jay Snyder. And that looks to be a error, as there is a driver missing from the... Nope, that's not an error. Sort of looks like an error. Looks like we lost a driver. Then we have the Morton Salt, followed by Flying Lizard, Iron Force. That's Nest Motorsports back there. This is Becco, C. Becco. It's a new driver to the series. Another Flying Lizard in the background right there. Then we have Omega Racing with Vandy. Whoa, somebody just loaded to join. We have 30 seconds left before this starts. Everybody better be on wet tires. That's McLaren, McLaren Motorsports. Another Omega Racing. Car number 49 is Panzer Wallmolder. Morton Salt again. Azuri Racing in the background. Adidas Parlay, that's going to be Richie Girolman, who was not able to qualify, as well as Lindauer in the Southern Star Motorsports. And then I think that's Eric Cassian in the car number 55. And then Mike Burkhoff coming in from the backfield. Let's see if he can improve upon his time, as another Omega Racing is in the background. All right. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the start of the race. I can't tell you what's going to happen, because anything can happen during a wet 110-minute race. This is going to be a long endurance race at Mount Panorama, where it is raining to start off. Every driver will have to serve a pit as mandatory. That's why you see the one highlighted by the yellow background of it. Once they serve that penalty, or once they serve that spot, then they can continue racing without regard for that. I believe people are probably going to be using a tire setup change, especially if they go to dries, if the track, switches dramatically. And we're starting in the nighttime, which is rather interesting. I didn't think this was going to be the state of things. It's CPK 47. Yeah, it looks very it's gonna be very interesting. Alright, just a quick change of focus. We are on a formation lap, and they're at the top of Mount Panorama, going through the S's. Ed Kerstetter leading this in P1, Riley Minier P2, Diego Moscato P3, Raza P4, Daniel Caslessy in 5. I think some of the most interesting aspects of this race are going to start in the front and in the back. We have Mike Burkhoff, one of the fastest paced drivers in the league, who's starting from the back of the grid. He has done this before. He did it last time, and looks like we have an Omega Racing sitting on the side of the apex there. He came from last place and went to P8, I believe. So he's a driver that you're going to have to watch out for, as well as Eric Cassian in the Panzer Wallmotor. Let's see if he splits the track and when people go off here. Stefan Lindauer of Southern Star Motorsports also served a quali van. He is another driver that's going to be pushing through this grid very rapidly, as well as Richie Girolman, who's another top 10 tier driver, also starting at the back of the grid for serving a quali van. He is going to have to be pushing through this grid as well. We have Reggie King of the RHD Racing, who's also serving a quali ban, and he's going to be pushing through the 20s and into the teens. A lot of action is going to happen on this, as we have Frederick Goupil of Ness Motorsports, and he is in the middle of the grid here. He's definitely going to be pushing some pace, as well as his teammate, Jarek Snyder. And we are almost underway. We're going to be switching to the helo cam as we start this race. And they're rounding that final corner. Ed has the optimum spot on track for when this all starts.
Green light, green light.
Green, green, green. Here we go. That's the green flag. This race is starting. Looks like nobody's going to try to attempt anything special through that first corner. We'll go back a little bit. Still clean, still clean. Everybody's clean. Oh, I said that too soon. A couple drivers made contact. Car number 72, 72, and 49. Lightly, though, everybody's maintained their positions as we are still good through this corner. Still smooth. Chronotis is side by side with Faf on the outside, though. More drivers going through that corner. Still clean. Still clean. It's just going to take a second. We have Ed Kersetter holding P1 right now. Car number 917, a D Ward, did not cleanly go through that corner. He is dropped into the pit lane. That's a shame. Oh, we have a car that has just gone off and missed that braking point entirely, and that was the BRB, I believe. Car number 46, no. Everybody's still clean. There's a lot of room, a lot of contention here. I don't even know what to say, really. I thought there was going to be some massive incident through that first corner, and here we have nothing but strong pace driving. It looks like Richie Girolman hasn't made up much. Oh, has already made up some spots. It looks like he's going to try to make another one on Omega Racing of Vandy. We have Jason Provolone in P4. Oh, and Castellassi is P9, so some change-up definitely did happen. Oh, car number 54, Diego Moscato is going down the board. Something happened there. Oh, no! McKeezy just hit the back end of Jason Provolone as he is trying to figure out a way to safely enter back on this track. Oh, my God. And car number 42 also not doing so well. That is Becco, gone into the pit lane. Ed Kersetter still leads this. Not significantly, but just enough. And this is what it looks like when you're going through this right now. Chronotis has gotten some speed on Castellassi, but McKeezy on the back end of Borio. Definitely going to have some aero damage, having slammed in the back of another driver. And that is Ali Raza in P3 in that Boatley. Riley Munir's already 1.4 second gap formed from P1 to 2. Josh Willis has made up one position, I believe, so far, or two. Now he's too wide through this corner. That's Mitch McConnell on the back end, as well as Aaron Free next to him on the end, in front of him. He pulled the outside move, and he maintained that lead over Mitch McConnell. And now you can see there's a big trend forming here. We have Becco leaving the pit lane. It looks like D Ward is going to stay out on this one. Oh, car number 962 of Andy Oak in the wall there. Let's. Oh, with another driver. That's Provolone. Oh, they're both damaged. That wasn't Provolone. That was Lindauer. Oh, no. Lindauer's. That's unfortunate. Definitely. You definitely hate to see it. Nessie Lero, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Everyone here at Tracklicious Sim Racing appreciates all the followers we can get. Ooh, a little bit of bump in there. Oh, a lot of bumping. Wow. Who is that? Josh Willis? Car number 22 and 24 made contact. Car number 42, 44, 82, and 24 also made contact. Yikes. A little bit of contact. Rubbing is racing, but you don't want to end somebody's stint so early in an endurance race. We have a lot of drivers splitting the field, though. You can see this middle field is really tight together still, but those race leaders, they're off in the distance. You have Ed Kurt from Ali Raza to Ed Kerstetter. There's a 9-second gap, almost 10-second gap now. Car number 7 of Vandy, yellow flagged. Incident on his own. Might be sideways there. We can't tell. We have Richie Girolamo already up there next to Diego Moscato. Mike Burkhoff's also made some pushes for himself as well, as they started in the back of the grid and they are now sitting at the front of the 20s. Richie Girolamo's now back in the points as he's going to be facing Jin through these the S's here. As they go through the dipper, they're going to be going on this straight. I bet you Richie's going to try to pull off an overtake here. This is a good, strong spot to do so before that hard braking into that left-hander. It looks like Vandy still hasn't... Oh, he's dropped himself in the pits. Mike Burkhoff also from the back of the field. He is now P23. And that really calculated move for Richie Girolamo down the straight as he is overtaking that driver. Diego Moscato is also going to try to have a go at him. We have McKeezy in P5. Josh Willis just overtook McKeezy, and now McKeezy is P6. We have Aaron Free in P4. Barrio got ahead of him as well. I mean, 2 shakeups that quick, right through that that final sector. Car number 49 off. Who's car number 49? Mo Vassell off in the corner of that first right-hander. Hell's Corner, as it's called. And Chronotis is behind Jarek Snyder there for P8. Not a spot to be making an overtake, but he's getting close. It's all about where you're going to be exiting down the dipper there. And luckily there are no ballots for this driver to take out in this race. And as we join our race leaders, it looks like Ed Kerstetter has lost that gap that he had formed with Riley Manier, as they are only 0.2 off of each other right now. From this angle, it looked like he was poking his nose in, but he definitely had some distance. Was not going to be able to make that overtake through that corner. So we have Richie Girolamo, Josh Willis here. The back end of Aaron Free, going to try to have a go at him. Josh leading the GT3 driver standings right now in points over Richie sorry, Riley Manier, he needs to get some good points in order to stay competitive. And then there you have it. He goes on the inside. It's not enough. He doesn't stick his nose in. They both go cleanly through that. Car number 2 of Lindauer is also sideways. Yo. Let's see. He's looking to make a move back. Ooh. That's Becco rejoining the track there. At the top of Mount Panorama. Ed Kerstetter still leading the charge with Riley Manier very close to attempting to overtake that. Now, in Riley's style, I don't believe we're going to see him pit at the same time Ed Kerstetter pits. During that mandatory pit, Riley's going to probably attempt to take the move there and continue racing and see if he can't overcut his opponent. And there you have. We have Richie Drallman, who's now in P17. If there is going to be a Driver of the Day award, it's definitely going to be one of these drivers that's pulling from the back of the field and coming in there quickly to the front of the pack. It looks like Diego Moscato is like right on the back end of Richie Drallman. And that doesn't bode well for him, as these two drivers are pretty aggressive in wanting to make that move. And look at it, look at him have it. Diego goes by, but he doesn't want to give it to him. Richie Drallman's going to go for it. Oh my! Oh! And he taps. Diego Moscato got tapped going through that corner. Hopefully his tires are still okay. Andrew Pickrell going up against Constable Cody Wassam, as well as Eric Miller there. Daniel Kaslas, he's ahead of him, overtook Andrew Pickrell through that first sector. Yeah, you know, going through Hell's Corner can be, it's that first corner at the start of the race. And you saw what happened going through that final corner with that overtake. And then it's just, that's what happens sometimes when you have racing that's very competitive. The position was going to give him back, but he was unable to do so. Becco being one of the only drivers on track to Aaron Free in the pit lane. Oh. He is dropping position significantly. Oh, as we have Frederick Gupil of Ness Motorsports in P18, P19, 20. He's dropping down the track. Oh, he has another incident, and that aero damage is going to be mighty significant. This is what happens when it's a wet race, is the rain is starting to lessen in the 3 to 10 minute marker. Definitely going to be seeing some changes. Ed Kerstetter's gap to Riley Manier is now a full second, so there's some good news there for the pole sitter. Stephen Lindauer's off in the side there. And Constable Cody Wassam's also gone into the pit lane, as well as Chronotis has gone into the pit lane. Is there something that these drivers are doing that I don't see? We have Spool of Iron Force Racing. Very competitive for this driver. He is up there in P5, overtaking Ray Frias. I am clearly concerned for what is happening here. As Wassam is in the pit lane. We'll just have to maintain a look at that. As Chronotis did go in first, or did Aaron Free go in? Nope, there goes Wassam. Having served his time, or his mandatory pit, he is back out on track. We have Riley Minier. Unless there's significant damage, there would be no real reason to be going into the pit this early. The track is still wet. While the rain is going to be lessening, we're only up 1 degree in temperature on track. He is sitting behind his teammate. Chronotis is P18, though. He's a full lap down from these drivers. Oh. And there's Jet Engelman of P7. Whoa, look at that. 0-0 Raven. Hey, man, thank you for following the raid. That's awesome. Just at the start, mostly at the start of about 20 minutes into an endurance race at Mount Panorama. It's been wet this entire time. And we're seeing some pretty significant changes to our lineup here. We have over 29 drivers on the field, and they're at all different points of the track. And a lot of drivers have gone in the pit lane so early to either sort out damage or tire chain setups, but it's still wet on the track. I don't see why that could be. The rain is lessening as Jet Engelman pulls off a masterclass against Eric Miller there, and Ray Frias, and now he's P6, and that is Jet Engelman in that very nice IDRF livery there. And Eric Miller, he's only 3/10 off this driver, Ray Frias, he's going to have a go at him. That's Flying Lizard Motorsports there, with 2 of their drivers actually going side by side. You know, some of the TSR guys and gals from console, they play on the console too? Wow. Oh, I know a couple of them do actually do that. Yeah. This is our GT3 endurance race, round 5 of a already massive series that has gone on. We're halfway through it. We have, you know, I think 5 more races to go. It's really exciting. Riley Minier and Josh Willis holding P2 and P3. Josh Willis is in the lead on points for the driver championship. Ed Kerstedter's in P3 and Riley Minier's in P2 on that on those standings. So if Ed wins today, this endurance race, he's gonna get bigger points in this race because it's tallied over how many minutes we're actually running. Double headers are 30 minutes, 30 points per race, 33 points per race for the race lead. But this is a 110-minute race, so it's a lot different here. And he's maintained a good lead over Riley Minier. Although their last lap times were 2:11.6 and a 2:11.7, so not too far off. With Josh Wills at 2:11.8. Riley Minier has the fastest lap on track right now with a 2:09.7, so he's really on the heels of Ed Kerstetter of 9for9 Sim Racing. And look at that. Andy Oak gets overtaken by Constable Cody Wassam there as he's going down this left-hander. And it looks like car number 99 is not in the contention with these drivers. That is Aaron Free. He's a little bit further back. Erica Cassian's going to try to overtake Provolone there, and he does. That is the Tracklicious man himself, Erica Cassian, the founder of this the server, as well as a real life track day guy. Takes people around. You know, the whole P13. That's a lot of splits. Is the green is showing a lot of these drivers have already decided to take their mandatory pit, and that just seems a little confounding to me. So early in a race, would you go for a mandatory pit stop when there's all the possibility in the world that we're going to be seeing a wet change up here? Because Eric Miller in P8 is on the back heels of Ray Frias here in that Morton Salt, that white car ahead of him. Eric Miller has done a 2:13.5 as his last, and Ray Frias has done a 2:13.8. So, oh, and here he goes on the inside. That was a clean overtake. And that has split. Andrew Pickrell of the Flying Lizard Motorsports is behind Ray Frias. Both these drivers are pushing to the pack, and that is a couple teams that have drivers in the top 10. You have Mike Burkhoff. Oh no, wow, Mike Burkhoff already in P10. That driver started from the back of the grid. That is an impressive feat for Mike Burkhoff there. And back to our race leads. We have some blue flags coming up. Ed Kerstetter is going to be in some traffic going through this left-hander. As Azuri Racing pulling off to the side there. And then you have McLaren McLovin Motorsport driver is also going to just maintain his line. That gives all the room for Riley Manier to get closer to Ed Kerstetter as they're going through this final corner. Is he going to try to make a move down that Hell's Corner coming up here? Doesn't look like he's really holding a good draft either. He's just going to keep following him. Oh, and look at this. We have some cars in the backfield. Jarek Snyder of Nest Motorsports still in the points. After 20, points are no longer awarded to anyone outside of the top 20. A little bit of contact there. That could have been, you know, just some wet rain conditions contact. And no improvement there. Getting a little draft here. He might be trying to go in for the inside. It's pretty good defense so far. He's giving him room, though. No, he's not giving him the room. And it looks like it's a really good defense, but he's losing significant speed to defending. We have Jason Provolone going up against Eric Cassian here. And he is about 6 cents off. So just jump over to another driver here. Eric Miller going up against Jet Engelman of the IDRF Motorsports in the purple livery there. Hey there, Kanji Gaming. How's your night treating you? And wow, that's look at that. We have Andrew Pickrell, Flying Lizard Motorsports, trying to catch up to his teammate with this driver ahead of him in the McLaren. Oh, and there's a car off. Car number 42 is off in that final corner, going down the dipper. have no idea who that is. It's Becco. Becco is sideways still. Jet Engelmann, 1/10 off of this Iron Force Racing. As they're going through this straightaway, is he going to be able to overtake him before this corner? Yeah, he does cleanly. Look at that. That is the speed of the Ferrari for you, going up against that Porsche. And there you have it. Jet Engelmann in P5. Still not served a mandatory pit like some other drivers have. So that could change. This could all change up at any moment. Car number 86 of Goupil has just returned to the pits there. That's unfortunate. Minor mistake there. We have Spool maybe trying to have a go again at Jet Engelmann. Well, Kanji, what brings you around? Is it are you a fan of ACC, which is racing in general? Happen to catch the GT World 8-hour endurance race at Indianapolis today? That was a pretty exciting race. Oh, wow. He's 2/10 off. He's getting closer. I truly do not know the actual experience of Spool or where he really stands, but he is showing himself right now to be skillful alongside of some of these other drivers here. So Eric Miller is creeping closer. How long are races in ACC usually, Dirk McNasty? It's different. So our season, we do a mix-up. So the GT3 series will do double headers mixed with endurance races. Double headers being 30 minutes each, and they'll do a 10-minute quali, 30-minute race, 10-minute practice, 10-minute quali, then another 30-minute race, and then they'll call it. But if they're doing an endurance race, they'll just do the one singular endurance race for the evening, for that round. Our GT4s, our GT4 races on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Those are all done at double headers so far. And then we do have an endurance style racing for the Porsche Cup cars on Saturdays. Right now we still have 28 drivers on the track. Is it hosted by the game? The advert for this game says it makes you feel like an RPG or something. Is this like the server use? It's hosted by the server. So the owner of Tracklicious Sim Racing, Eric Kassian, who is sitting in P14. He bought a server through another company overseas and is able to manipulate the server to allow us to add weather changes, weather variability, what kind of tracks, time of day. So it's all done by the admins, and there's several admins that are racing right now. And this looks like Mike Burkhoff, P10, 2/10 off of Andrew Pickrell. He's caught up to these drivers. He was in last place, mind you, Mike Burkhoff, in this black and pink car. So that is impressive drive for him already. Top 10 for this driver, as he is holding 4/10 now. Yeah, so the admins, they control the aspects of the weather and all that stuff, but it's still variable. They can't just ask for rain. I mean, they could add a variability to make it rain more, but it's still up to the system at the end of the day. So they started this with the idea that it was going to start the race at 5 in the morning, and weather availability would be probably sunny, and it turned out to be rainy. So it's not like an RPG or something. It's really technical for some reasons. ACC is basically they work with the developers of the GT World, so they're pulling raw data from the actual drivers themselves, from the actual cars that are on track that you see in a GT race, a GT3 race, or a GT4 race. those cars have a realistic interpretation of the data that is provided for these cars. So what you are seeing and feeling when you're driving the car is pretty much how the car would most likely react. As Andrew Pickrell gives up that position to Mike Burkhoff, that's a little strange. But they're going down the straightaway, and Andrew Pickrell's now in P10. Do you level up or improve the car? You can improve your stats. That's about it. So there's race control. There's your reputation as a driver. When you go to like online servers, open lobbies, they have a safety rating. So if you're not well within a good safety rating, so if you bump another car, that drops points on your safety rating. And if you try to like flat out torpedo another driver, that drops your safety rating. You need to have track medals for each track that you're going to go on. So, and it's only three medals, and it just means that you can maintain a consistent pace. You're not going through track limits, and you can do like 4 laps, perfectly in those conditions. And a lot of lobbies ask that you have a safety rating of like 60, which doesn't take long to get, but it's something that you have to maintain consistently, especially if you're in open lobbies. A lot of damage has occurred with some of these drivers. Are going to be getting some points deducted, but it maxes out at 100, so a lot of drivers are in the 90s, especially these drivers that are really seasoned. Mike Burkhoff still holding P9, about 5/10 off the driver ahead of him, so 5/10, half a second off of Ray Frias. And you could choose any car from the GT3 and GT4, although I believe the GT4 series, you have to pay for the add-ons for those. But the game itself is pretty standard as far as, like, I think it's $20, and then it's not much to get all of it. Ray Frias hitting that chicane, that apex a little bit on that curb. But that gives all the room for Mike Burkhoff to get really close in on this driver. This is only a 110-minute race, not an 8-hour endurance race. The GT, the real-world comparison, the GT World Racing, they had a mixed class event, 10 GT3 cars, 10 GT4 cars that happened earlier today. That was a race at Indianapolis, and that would be the real-life counterpoint to this. This is all GT3 cars, but we do have mixed class events. We're going to be having another mixed class event with another racing community, 949 Sim Racing, and that's going to happen, I believe, in November. We do have a calendar for that. But if you've never seen this before, in ACC, it's very realistic to its interpretation of what you're doing here. So most of these drivers have Fanatec wheels. Best way I can describe that is we pop into Mike Burkhoff just overtook Ray Frias right under our noses. Now he's going to be on the heels of Spool. If I go into a driver right now, that wheel is what some drivers are using at home. They have a Fanatec box with a let's see if I can't. Let's see. Wait, on board. Yeah, here we go. That's probably better. The helmet. So these drivers would be using their wheel, or you could use just a basic Logitech wheel. Some of them are using Thrustmasters. They have the pedals. They have a gaming sim rigs all set up. All these drivers usually have that. He goes by, Mike Burkhoff, during that attempt, has gone by Spool. That is really good pace for this driver. He is now going to be improving, going towards Eric Miller there. And we will pop back into the gap. So we have Eric Cassian about 4/10 off of this driver, Jason Provolone, as he was attacking this position at some point. So my AC setup won't cut it. I didn't realize AC was its own game. Oh, you have AC. So if you have a set of Corsa, it's basically the same thing. You're whatever you're using to run, like if you have a wheel and all that and pedals, ACC is not far off from a set of Corsa. The I would say the difference is this is uh, not, it's not ACC. I would say AAC is not arcadey, but it does have like a lot of variability. Whereas ACC is done with the intent to make these cars as most realistic to what you're actually doing in terms of the real simulator feeling you're getting out of that. As Constable Cody Wassam overtook Eric Cassian there through that corner. Ooh, as one of those drivers, car number 99 of Aaron Free is in the grass there. That's not good for him. We're going to be pushing back to Riley Manier attacking Ed Kersetter. That is one of the car number 93 of, I believe, one of the Chens. Yo, what's at the helm today? Eric swung by my stream last night with the raid. Is that Brandigan? Who's that? My name's Jason Alvarez. I'm the commentator here. My colors commentator wasn't able to join me in this endeavor for this endurance race. We're about, I think, 40 minutes in to this race so far. Rain is stopping in 3 minutes. It's going to go light to cloudy, and then the track is going to go greasy. So if you look over on the side of the overall, those green bars are all the drivers that have gone to the pit window already. They've served their mandatory pit stop, but they're definitely going to have to stop again just to change into dry tires. Oh, and look at that. We have 4 cars here, all fighting for position. That's Ray ahead of Iron Force and Eric Miller. I'm a bit miffed by this because I don't believe Ray is actually fighting these drivers for position right now. He is in P8, but Eric Miller is in P6, so that must be the huge gap to this race already. I don't believe he should give up any position because he's just going to put himself in a lapped position. And I don't know how that would even occur if none of these drivers have gone into the pit window, the pit lane already. Eric Miller attacking hard. What's the best car to use, Kanji Gaming? It's hard to say. There is always going to be one overpowered car in terms of the patch. Like every time they do a patch, they're really just adjusting to make sure all the cars are pretty much similar in some regard. Some cars definitely just for a fact go flat out faster on a straightaway. I would say McLaren's are the 720S that you're looking at right now is a really fast car, but it also just matters who's behind the wheel of the car, because right now the Porsche is holding significant ground across the entire board, but it's also who's behind the wheel of the car. In the GT4 series, if you told me a KTM was going to be in the top 5 fastest cars of the series so far, of the drivers that are in that series that happens on Thursdays, I would tell you you're absolutely insane. But there is a driver that is driving in the KTM, which is a very special car, and he's pulling. Ooh, Ray Frias eats a lot of that curb, and in a McLaren you can't really touch these curbs. It doesn't bode well for you, as Eric Miller and Andrew Pickrell holding P7 and P9. Those Flying Lizard Motorsports are going to get some good spot for their teammate, for their team points. Look at him. Andrew Pickrell going on the inside of Ray Frias, trying to go through this straightaway up the hill towards Mount Panorama through this right-hander. Is he going to have it? Look at that. Already ahead. Calculated move by Andrew Pickrell, now pulling ahead, cementing himself in P8 right behind his teammate Eric Miller. And then Mike Burkhoff from the back of the grid. He's in a Silver Arrow Mercedes AMG, and he started from the back, and now he's up here. P6. This would be an overall impressive feat if he maintains this, but he's still attacking. He's got Jet Engelmann ahead of him in a Ferrari. And Kanji, just to answer your question again, it really, there are some cars that are technically faster through like a straight, but there are some cars that handle corners better, and you know, not every car going through each track is going to succeed. There are some tracks that are just generally better to be using a specific car over another specific car. And because we're changing tracks so often, you just have to find the right balance on what kind of car that you can use. And once you join the league and you join the season, you could only stick to the one car that you pick at the start. And that's Mike Burkhoff in P5 going through that corner back there. What an impressive feat for him. Ooh. Oh, wow. That is unfortunate. Becco made it possible for Riley Minier to get really close to that driver, Ed Kerstetter, who is holding P1. Riley Minier P2. But Becco in the wall there. And he is still... Oh, he was able to maneuver himself out of that situation. Josh Willis is a full 32 seconds back from P2. And that is an impressive feat by these drivers. Track's still wet. We're still looking at cloudy. The rain's going to let up in just under 3 minutes, meaning that once it hits greasy, it's still optimum to have your wet tires on, but that greasy to green switch on the track is when these drivers are going to definitely be switching over to dry tires and trying to then push. It's going to be where you're at on the track when you can best get into the pit lane, who's going to optimize that feat there, because that's what really matters. Like, you don't want to go in too early when the track's still wet. You're just going to, slide into a wall, especially with Mount Panorama. And look like Riley Minier's going up into it. And if you're not familiar with this track, I'm just going to go on a quick on board here so you can see this. This driver has to maintain a line in wet conditions through what is a very narrow space. You're not sticking 2 cars wide through any of these corners. At the top of Mount Panorama, you could also go a little too wide there and hit that wall, which would send you out of this race. This is P2, Riley Minier attacking Ed Kerstetter of 949 Sim Racing. And there's that. And oh, look, there's some lap traffic. Those blue flag has been raised. That was the RHD Penrite Racing in the back there. He got out of the way, but there's a driver ahead of him. And that is actually an Adidas parlay. And Jet Engelmann on the inside of Mitch McConnell as they're going up this straight here. Ooh, perfectly executed. Jet Engelmann. Man, it is great to see this driver still, holding in quick positions. He has had some unfortunate incidences that have occurred over other races so far, and he hasn't really been able to race. And to see him out there racing strongly without any incident, that is great. It's just great to see. Look at that. That's a Ness Motorsports going off on the side. That's a blue flag marker. You can see those flags on the side of the track there. And Riley Minier still trying to have a go. He's quick. That is Chronotis and his teammate from Adidas Parlay over there on the side. Good thing he lets him go by. But he doesn't block. You can't block in the game. Well, you could, but this series has rules. The Tracklicious Sim Racing has a lot of rules, I'd say. And Alf Incorporated, thank you for the follow. That was 60 minutes ago. I did not see that, but appreciate it. And Kanji Gaming, also thank you for the follow. This is just one of our races here. We have many that we host on Twitch Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, Riley Manier hits that curb pretty hard. He's able to keep it together, but that did not look good. Yes, the Ferrari is quick. It's a very quick car. There's several different types of cars, and if I had my colors commentator, he could definitely explain it better than I could. But you have your mid-engine cars, your front-engine cars, and your back engine cars, and those have weight distribution as well as gas. Just having X amount of gas can change the entire car setup entirely. You have tire pressures that are changing. The track is damp now, which means that it's going to be time for them to be switching over to dry tires very shortly. And with these two drivers going head-to-head, I don't think that Riley's going to do it first. I believe he's going to probably stay out. The Ferrari's very fast on some straightaways. Porsche likes corners. Every car has its thing. Some cars are just really bad at specific tracks. As far as the Porsche goes, if you throw more fuel into it, it kind of settles the front end when you're actually going through like when you're driving, and the mechanics of real life are built into the game. So if you put a lot of fuel in to a Porsche, I mean it, and you're going through a corner, you want to be able to maintain the front end back end balance, and that's why you got to think about those things, especially since we're in a massive endurance race. These drivers may have to refuel if they didn't already just top off at 120 liters, which might not be the best option, because if you Riley Manier definitely hit the side there. Yikes. That's not good. Especially when you're this competitive, you don't want to make up any mistakes that causes aero damage. Aero damage can mess up your brake ducts, and your brake ducts can mess up your ability to heat up your brakes or cool down your brakes, and therefore making you slower. Significant aero damage can just automatically make you a slower car, despite being a fast driver or having a fast car. As you can see, favorably, the Porsche is doing very well. A lot of drivers are using the Porsche. McLaren with that black little swizzle thing, this little stripe, the McLaren thing. There's P9, P15, P20, and P23 all in the McLaren. There's still more drivers on the track. There's several on the pit lane, though. And that is McKeezy and Chen in the pits. And we're still not even halfway through this race. So anything's possible. Anything can happen here. And that's what... So we have Josh Willis, who's going through the final sector. Then you have Riley Manier going up the hill right now. So they're at an entire sector difference. Each sector is probably around 37 seconds, roughly. Josh Willis is at 38.4 behind P2. Mike Burkhoff is going through Sector 3 right now, and Josh Willis is rounding into Sector 1, going up the hill, down the straightaway first. As he has a teammate who's significantly behind him, though. P13 and P3 are right next to each other. So that's how varied this race has gone so far. It's very surprising. It was very close for the first, I'd say, 8 laps. And while it is still raining, and here we have Riley Manier still on the back end of... Ooh, look at that. This is the strategy. Track is damp. It's cloudy, cloudy, cloudy for 3 minutes, 10 minutes out. and Mike Burkhoff has gone into the pit window. He will be dropping down from P4, and he is going to definitely try to undercut his entire grid. He's already a full sector behind P3, so he's making the maneuver, as well as another driver in P9, Ray Frias, is going into the pits. His P10's also going into the pit lane. The strategy here would be that these drivers are putting on dry tires in anticipation for a greasy to green to dry track. And if they can maximize their time on the field. Ed Kerstetter overtaken by Riley Minier through that third sector. Oh, wow. That is impressive. I don't know if Riley Minier is going to be able to maintain this going up the hill. And that is Mike Burkhoff now serving his mandatory pit, having put on dry tires. And that took a full 30 seconds for them to do so. Oh, no! Contact is made. I hate to see it, but that was some significant damage taken to both cars. And we talk about rubbing his racing. Ed Kerstetter's not even a tenth off this driver, pushing at him pretty hard. We'll go on the cockpit cam and see what's going on here. You can tell he wants to get at him because he's fighting for good points here. If you finish P1, you're going to be probably sitting at the top in the Drivers' Championship right now. A lot of these drivers may not care about their team championship points, as Ditas Parlay right now does sit number 1 in the team championship. Riley Minier in P1 right now is sitting at P2 on that. And we have car number 93 on a double yellow, sitting off on the left-hander. I don't think he's going to impede this race at all. Definitely not. He's still off into the side. And there's a good saying for this these conditions, is that as the track is damp, wet tires are still okay to be using. But it's better to be on wet dries than, I can't even think of the word right now. He's really close. That's what I'm trying to dual focus here. He's going side by side with his driver through this corner. Is it going to be a repeat of what just happened? We'll see. I don't pay my cameraman enough, I guess. It is not the same. These drivers do not make contact like they did last corner, but it was close. And we can see significantly that Ed Kerstetter was about 4/10 off of Riley Minier, which he is right now. But going through the lap time, that last lap, he was. And you can clearly see that the rain is almost non-existent. What I was talking about earlier is the track is still damp, but you rather be on dry tires in wet conditions than wet tires in drier conditions, because you're heating up your tires if you're going through the dry line of this track on these wet tires, and it's only going to increase your PSI, which is going to further lose grip when trying to brake or turn. And so these drivers have to manage a lot of things happening at once, and that's tire temperatures, where they're at on PSI, making sure they cool him correctly. They could cool him if he goes onto the wet part of the track right now, but he's trying to maintain a close distance so he doesn't break away. Oh, no. Oh, Ed Kerstetter. Oh, he's maintaining it, but he's lost significant amount of time there. There's also a track violation, but not one he's going to get penalized for. It just goes to show you, I don't think these tires are necessarily the move at this moment in time. We have Eric Miller and Andrew Pickrell of Flying Lizard Motorsports. These drivers are on top of each other, but they are teammates. They have Mitch McConnell ahead of them, as well as Josh Willis, who's gone into the pit window. Mitch McConnell is about 45 seconds behind him. Now, this would be the interesting dynamic here, is Mitch McConnell approaching the final sector here, sector 3, and Josh Willis is still in the pit lane. He has not started his pit either. Okay, he is just now starting. This means he's going to be switching to dry tires. We have Mitch McConnell here in P4 going through the final one of the final corners. If he doesn't pit, he might be able to overtake Josh Willis. Oh no, he goes right into the pit lane. As Eric Miller and Andrew Pickrell pick up P4 and P5. But is it enough? Josh Willis still... Oh, he's done. He's dropped out. Is he going to get ahead of these drivers? Let's go to Helocam. He does! He's not fast enough, though. He has it built up. Oh, one of Eric Miller gets by. Eric Miller now in P3. Provisionally, though, Eric Miller is going to have to go into the pit lane to serve his mandatory pit, as Andrew Pickrell is going to try to have a go at him as well. Oh, the Flying Lizard Motorsports are having a great day right now, but they are going to be losing some positions for not having gone into the pit when they did. Ed Kerstetter just goes right into the pit window. This is going to be the moment when Riley Manier tries to push as fast as he can away from this driver. We have Josh Willis 4/10 off of Eric Miller here, and then Andrew Pickrell 3/10 off of him. Barring team orders, I believe these drivers are going to try to maintain a good consistency with each other, because why not try to get ahead? Oh, it's Jet Engelman in P9 is in a disastrous spot. Oh, he went into the... Well, you hate to see it, but, you know, racing sometimes is not clean. And there you have it. Andrew Pickrell still holding a good distance on this driver. Okay, and it still he's getting closer, but is it enough? Eric Miller went into the pit lane, but Andrew Pickrell did not. I think these drivers are going to try to divide the strategy here. Get one driver undercut. Definitely going for the overcut now. Eric Miller still holding P5. We have Mike Burkhoff rounding off. No, he's going to overtake him there. That's P5 for him. Eric Miller's still sitting in the pit lane. A lot of damage to that car, as there's going to be a lot of damage to a lot of these cars. So there's that. Mad Driver 11, thank you for the follow. Awesome, man. Really appreciate that. Everyone here does. Ooh, as we have Constable Cody Watson. He's already been green, though. He has gone in the pit lane. Why has he gone in the pit lane? Is this driver switching for dries? I thought he already did that, but I might be mistaken. He is in P7 now, but is he going to be able to hold that? Mitch McConnell's going across the final straight there, and he's going to get ahead of him. That is Ed Kersetter holding P2 right now. Probably switching to dries. Track has changed to greasy, so that means that it's going to be a dry tire now. That's going to be more apt. As a blue flag for Mitch McConnell in P8. And there you have it. I don't know where these drivers are. Let's try to click to one of them. Okay. Car number 49. Where's 49? Mo Vassell is leading, or in the kind of in the middle of a huge pack here. All these drivers in the backfield, all very close together in terms of their pace. But what's really going to be the significant distance here is we have Riley Menier, who's finally gone off into the pit window. And this is where we're going to see a significant change here. He doesn't have to repair his damage, but he definitely is going to be switching to the dry tires. Ed Kerstetter has a minute to go to get close. So he's getting in. That means Kerstetter's going through starting to go into sector 3 right now. There goes Riley Menier finally maneuvering himself into the pit windows. He's got 30 seconds to change tires. Going through that entire grid. He's going to exit the pits quickly, so that's a great spot for him to be in positionally. But still 30 seconds. That's a long time. And when you have a driver like Ed Kerstetter, who is one of the fastest drivers in this league so far, you really hope that you're going to be able to pull away. And with him being 14 seconds, 13, he's going into the final straight here. Oh, wow. Riley Menier is able to get ahead with his pit. He must have pushed himself to the limit going through that lap before, or a couple laps, to get away from Ed Kerstetter. As Ed Kerstetter is 11 seconds away from him. That is a very significant change. We have Jorge Barrera of Omega Racing on the attack. Constable Cody Wassam here for P11 and 10. Wow. Wow. And, since we have a little bit of time, while these drivers are still trying to play catch up with each other, I'm just going to quickly transition. You're going to see a little bit of overhead. This is the Team Adidas Parlay of Riley Menier, Chronotis, and Richie Girolamo, all in Adidas Parlay. They have the most points in the team standings, with Ness Motorsports right behind them at 411. Panzer Wall Motors in P3, is Southern Star Motorsports is in P4, followed by Flying Lizard Porsche with Eric Miller, Andrew Pickrell, and Aaron Free, all here tonight for their the race. Constable Cody Wassman, Jet Engelman are the only drivers for IDRF Ferrari to show up. The DIR, Ed Kerstetter is the only driver of his team to show up. Pfaff Motorsports, Mitch McConnell and Jerry Shirk have joined us tonight. BRB Club, all three drivers of the BRB Racing Club are here. And then RHD Racing and P10 rounding it out. All those drivers are here. We have Morton Salt, McLovin, McLaren Motorsports, Omega Racing, Iron Force, Porsche, Azuri Racing, Instant Collectors, Advanti, Turtle Tracks, and then Underdog. And then followed by Josh Willis and P1 here. As we have Ray Frias, currently 4/10 off of this driver in the Iron Force. That's Spool with a back marker in between them. Let me just pull away there. And he tries to give him some space, but it's actually just enough. Ray Frias goes through and passes both drivers. well done to him. That is P8 for him. I believe that RHD Penrite cars actually. What's that? Nope. That's not Reggie King. Oh. No, it had to be then. Ali Raza is sitting in P14, and he is right behind his teammate in P13. But they have a 15-second gap from each other. But that's some good position for these drivers. As Ray Frias is now going to be on the attack against Mitch McConnell, who's a little bit ahead of him. And yeah, I think that's where our closest gap is right now. I'm going to slide it over to Ed Kerstetter here, who's holding P2. He's overtaking P6, Eric Miller, which really goes to show you where are these drivers really at on the grid here. Is Eric Miller a lap down, or is Ed Kerstetter lapping him for the first time? One can only know. Going back to the drivers lineup, we have Ed Kerstetter in P3 on the driver standings. So that's some good points, some significant points for him if he is able to at least take P2. Riley Manier will definitely bump up to P1 with this race if he ends up winning. Then we have McKeezy in P4, Pickrell P5, Geralm in P6. Sundar, who's not with us right now, is in P7. Mike Burkhoff is in P8. Lindauer P9. McConnell P10. Snyder 11. And so forth. Just slowly scrolling through this to let you see some of the drivers. Eric Cassian, Trackalicious, community leader himself, owner of the server, as well as an organization which hosts track days for individuals that are in the Midwest. So there's that. Back to it. And Jorge Barrera in P11. CPK 47. Ed is making some good time. Yes, he is. From his initial 14-second gap, he is down to 7.8 seconds from the race lead. And he's improving upon it. And with this track being greasy, it's still, a little slippery for the dry tires, but one thing you can tell already is that we have Ed Kerstetter with the last lap of a 207.5, and he is gaining on Riley Manier. We still have 32 minutes left on the time, so he's gonna catch Riley Manier at some point if Riley Manier doesn't improve upon his times as well. Riley Manier is about to be going through the final corner. His last lap was a 209 flat, and as he crosses the line now, he does a 207.7. So he's still 0.2 slower than Ed Kerstetter is right now, which is where Ed Kerstetter just made that. Now he's 7 seconds flat on the attack there. So significant pace is being made up for Ed Kerstetter as he went into the pit lane on the strategic attempt to undercut his opponent, and the overcut was Riley Manier, and he was successful in overcutting. Ooh, we see Eric Cassian of the car number 22. Oh, it's Josh Willis. Yeah, Josh Willis went off and missed his braking marker or something, but he definitely was off right there. I must have been missing something there. Is that Reggie King? Oh, no, it's Reggie King that had an incident. Car number 44. What can I say? If anyone's not familiar with this track, or how some drivers are going through it. Here's a good example. We have Austin Chen in P22. If you look through it, he's the 150. There's a 110, the 100. You're braking right before that 100. Maybe even like 115. And you want to just get down, get through that corner. And sometimes it's not easy. And we can see Eric Cassian, the community leader, trying to go through that corner as well. So when people go off here, boom. Shifting perfectly. Going through that corner. That's how you'd want to do it, folks. And sometimes in a race like this, you just don't have that opportunity. We have Riley Manier, who's leading this race, and Ed Kersetter's 6 seconds back from him right now. As he goes through Hell's Corner, he goes off significantly there, hitting the grass. That's going to slow him down enough to where Ed Kersetter coasts through Hell's Corner perfectly. Now he's 5.5 seconds off of this driver. You know, on board cam here. It's not quite there. When he can see him through this this mirror here, or this window, that's when you know it's going to be a really tough battle for P1. He's just one corner shy of being able to look at that driver in front of him. And then we have Eric Cassian in the in P12, who's may or may not be holding up Riley Manier, but within his rights to not want to be lapped right now. Oh no, blue flag, so it's not within his rights. That was a waved blue flag, so he is eventually going to let this driver by. Maybe. But you can see the significant damage there on that driver, on that Ferrari that's there. The one and only Ripper. These young drivers need a lot of guidance from more experienced people, that is, or was into this. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these drivers are actually, I would say, most of them are in their older age. Whoa. Might not be the most eloquent exit there by our community leader, but, you know, it sometimes happens. And we have Mitch McConnell of FAF Motorsports on the back end here of Eric Miller, and he's going to try to have a go at him. Let's see if we can't get a better view of this. Oh, here we go. Definitely not a coach for me. I'm not that fast in one of these cars. If we were to put up some, you know, Coach Dave setups, yeah, Coach Dave is the person you want to go to for any and all setups, as well as learning how to drive in one of these cars. And, you know, even if you have, you know, hundreds of hours in this game, it still is very technically challenging, and you still got to think about the opponent ahead of you, who's also just another driver that ain't sure where their braking point's going to go, especially in a different car. McLaren's brake at a different braking marker than Porsches do, for that example. The Senator P Racing, though. CBK would definitely not be able to teach you. But there's a lot of drivers here at Tracklicious Sim Racing in the community Discord that would be able to help you, if not give you setups, advice and everything like that. Even go through some laps with you on some tracks that you're wanting to improve upon, because everybody here is at varying different degrees of their expertise and on how to drive these cars. And some of them change up cars each season to keep, or for each series, just to keep it interesting. So there's that as well. And if you do want to join the Discord, just hit the button in the About Me section. Looks like a lot of hellos are going around in the chat. Hello to you too, everybody. Ooh, look at that. Whoa, that is a Morton Saw over in the corner. What is that's unexpected. If you're a driver being like, you're going through a corner and that was, I might not be able to see it. We might call that the vortex of danger when you can't see what's right next to you and you have to maneuver away from it. I have good time consistency. I'm consistently slow. See, because hey, I'm in the same boat, man. If I was in one of these cars right now, I'd probably be somewhere next to Andy Oak in P20, maybe P22. If I'm being honest, I'll probably be P22. Whoever's in the pit and has stayed in the pit, that's probably where I'm at. These drivers are doing last of a 206. If we had optimum conditions, these drivers would be doing 203s, 202s, 201s even. To just even give that more perspective, we have McKeesey, who's a fast driver of NAS Motorsports. He's doing a 206.4, but he's in P21. We have Becco in P18. He's doing a 210. Snyder's doing a 207. Provolone's doing a 209. Mitch McConnell's doing a 208.9. Senator Mitch McConnell is very fast. Mitch is extremely fast, and he showed that in quali, and he's showing it on the grid right now. Eric Miller's doing a wonderful defense through the S's here. Not that you need one, but he's still got a good line. It's going to be this straightaway is where he's going to have to maintain a good defense against Mitch McConnell here. Oh, yes, the senator. I forget that that's a politician thing, too. I always forget that. Look at him coming alongside him. Is that enough before this right-hander? It could be. Oh, he lets go. He lets off a little bit. He let him go slightly. But look at that exit. That was a very impressive exit by Mitch. He now holds P6 on, got the inside line for that final corner into the straight. And there you have it. Calculated move by Mitch McConnell, the senator himself. And he is now holding P6 with a 26-second gap away from Andrew Pickrell in P5. So it almost seems like the undercut was not the route to go. Eric Miller did go into the pit lane first, and his teammate of Andrew Pickrell, who's ahead of him, did not go in the pit lane and stayed out to fight Josh Willis. He only lost one position off of that, and Eric Miller has lost several. Remember, they were holding P4 and P5 at one point, both these Flying Lizard Motorsports drivers. And now one of them's in P5 and the other's in P7. The one and only Ripper, there's a learning curve that you need to test the limits. When you found the limits and how the car will react into the maximum edge, then you can understand what you will need to tweak, I would say tweak, to make it better and better and better, Chris. Yeah, and CPK 47 says, yeah, but I ran out of talent a long time ago. What you need is practice. Because we talking practice. And 3GP Spool of Iron Force Racing is in P9, but he's on the attack against Ray Frias, car number 777 in the Morton Salt McLaren. And he is getting closer. All you need is some good practice, like Ted Lasso says. Talking practice. Not the game, gentlemen. Not the game. Just practice. Okay. Spool still holding a 4/10 split on Ray Frias. The one and only Ripper. Basically, it goes that way. Once you put a wall in yourself, you finished. And I would go so far as to say that with this type of game, there's improvement overall, as well as more understanding of the dynamics of the actual range of what is happening in the car, and the the engineering behind that. Also plays in the factor of how fast you can go, knowing how much fuel you should put in on a 30-minute race, and knowing how much your car specifically needs in a 30-minute race, and how vastly different the speed of your car is going to be based on that, and knowing where you can throw your car into the wall even further, or even through an apex or a curb, if your car can even take curbs. Because that's one thing we don't have a lot here in this race is Mount Panorama does not have a lot of apexes that you need to like just send it through. I'd say one of the only ones would probably be turn 22, which is where these drivers are going to be going through very shortly. They are going down this final straight. There's a fast right-hander where they're going to be putting it flat out still, and then they're going through that left-hander. When you go to the left-hander, they're slowing down for that left-hander going into the right-hander. You could somewhat send it through that apex a little bit, that curb, but you can't cut too much of it because, you really couldn't even do it that one. I just don't think there's a spot on this track for that to be an occurrence. Other tracks, Suzuka has several chicanes where you just try to send it over. A Bentley would be a really good car to do that in. A McLaren never really takes a curb unless the curb is, flat and not really a curb. Spools, half a second off Ray Free is still, it's anyone's game. 18 minutes left to go. Eric Miller catching up to Mitch McConnell again, the senator himself. And these two drivers are the only ones on track that we can definitively say are in contention for a battle. Riley Minier leads comfortably with a 6.5 second gap from Ed Kerstetter. Josh Willis is almost half a lap down at 51 seconds to P2. He's 58 seconds away from race lead. Mike Burkhoff has a 37-second gap from Josh Willis in P4, P3. Andrew Pickerell's another 34 seconds in P5 from P4. Mitch McConnell's about 23 seconds. Ooh, look at that. Eric Miller, side by side, going through that fast right-hander. Mitch McConnell has the inside line, though, as he goes in, stays in consistent right there. What a wonderful attempt at Eric Miller to try to get into P6, but the senator himself put him in his place with that great defense on the inside line in that corner. He was thinking ahead. Eric Miller's not going to let off. He's only 3/10 behind this driver. Maybe he's going to try to have another go at him going into this the hill to the Mount Panorama. CBK 47. I seem to hit the same spot constantly, around 3 seconds off the fast guys. Well, one thing you could try doing, CPK, is not only what the Ripper's about to tell you, but yeah, definitely go into a practice session and just throw your car into apexes, throw it into corners, see where you have grip and where you don't have grip. And that's one way to just solve the speed problem um, as well as knowing the car. But have a driver watch you. Have them just jump in and watch how you're shifting. If maybe you're shifting too fast or too slow. One of the big things for me was when I was in a McLaren, I was shifting too fast, and so I wasn't gaining power in the car because of it. Because I would just click, click, click. Once I had enough to go, I was just clicking. I was just shifting up, or I would, same thing with shifting down, and when to know when your braking marker's at. And a lot of drivers here at Trackalicious Sim Racing would watch you drive to give you some pointers on how to improve your race. Eric Miller's still about 6/10 back from Mitch McConnell. They're both in Porsches, so there's not a lot of edge to go around here. The only factor would be if one of these drivers has damage, and that would give the other driver a little bit of an advantage, but I don't see anything happening in that regard because neither one of these cars has visual damage that I can see, at least. And it looks like Mitch McConnell's Scottish, I think that's the Scottish embroidered kilt. Looks pretty clean and without even a speck of dirt on it. Now the track is fast, by the way. The temperature has risen to 25 degrees, and we have Riley Minier with the fastest of a 204.9. That was his last lap, too. Ed Kerstetter did a 205.4, and Josh Willis did a 206.1. The one and only Ripper. That's because you didn't test your limits yet. You're constantly thinking more about that this is an acceptable gap, and you drive safely to complete a race. And that's something that starts in practice. Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said about driving safely. Is look at that. Eric Miller is being passed by Ali Raza, I believe. Yeah, unlapping himself. And he's gained a lot of speed there. This Bentley is not... it's not stopping. He's already past... He's might just be unlapping himself, but what a bold move to do inside the Mount Panorama. He gets away with it. He has speed, and he's pushing ahead. And with 13 minutes left, he's not going to be able to make up a lot of positions, as Eric Cassian in P12 is... actually, he's not that... He's 7 seconds off of him, so he is at least going to be able to get to there. But Barrera in P11 is another minute and 25 seconds away from these drivers, so he's significantly further up. Actually, to even let you see the difference here, we have these drivers going through across the final straight there, and Barrera is going down into Sector 3. They're 2 full sectors difference away from P11. So I don't think there's anything he could do there. But still impressive nonetheless. Reggie King of RHD Motors Racing. He's on the back end of Becco. And this is Christopher Becco of Walkenhorst Motorsports. It's a newer driver that just joined our league, so it'd be interesting to see what happens here. He's had definitely some mistakes that occurred on track, but he's maintained his racecraft and kept pushing. It's something you don't see out of every driver that joined this race today, as some of them have left, barring incidents. But Reggie King goes ahead of Becco for P18 and really pushing it hard. Pushing it forward. Yeah. We got Spool here. Yeah, I just don't see this is going to be any change to this lineup here. We have Ed Kerstetter rounding the corner, going through the final straight. He is P2 with a last of a 206.3. Riley Manier is 8.5 seconds ahead of him, which is just at the end of this straight. And he did a 205.3. He has the best lap on the grid so far with a fastest of a 204.9. Mike Burkhoff in P4, probably one of the most impressive stints so far is that this driver has started in the back and he is in P4 right now. So it goes to show you quitting is not an option. You could always get somewhere. As he has a little bit of oversteer there. His car kind of whips out on that back end. But he's an impressive driver, so he maintains it. He has some damage on the back end, too. He's going to be passing a back marker of car number 962 of Andy Oak of the McLovin McLaren Motorsports. And overall, if I had to give a driver of the day to, I would definitely think it would be Mike Burkhoff for having overtaken the entire grid to get where he's at. Josh Willis with a really impressive drive of his own, holding P3, starting in P8, P6, 7, 8, one of those ones. Quality was so long ago. It's an hour and 40-minute race that we're down to the final 9 minutes to go. Appreciate everyone that was sticking with us through this. Ooh, as we had, I did not see this. Mad Driver 11 in Feliciousness. I think it's Feliciousness. Both of you, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. I did not see that. Unfortunately, I was looking at a race. Ooh, whoa. Oh, who is that? Oh, that was one of the Chens. That has some damage to that driver. Car number 93. Look at that. Looks like Chronotis got away from that. A lot of these drivers did, but you have Jarek Snyder on the attack of Mo Vassell. So even though we're at 8 minutes left to go, there's still some excitement happening on the track here as Austin Chen had a little bit of a mix-up in the wall. And it doesn't look like he collected any drivers on that. And with 2/10 off of Mo Vassell, Jarek Snyder's going to try to get a better position for his teammate. As McKeezy is P19 and Goupil has not continued to race as he is not on the board. Ooh. Whoa. There goes Jorge Barrera picking up P10 quickly as Spool had a little incident going through Hell's Corner. That's the first corner there. Ali Raza's on the attack of Eric Acassi and only 2/10 off this driver. As he has significant damage to that front end, you can see. And is that the back end as well? Not clear. The Ali Raza down the straight. Is the Bentley going to be faster than that Porsche? It is. It goes through. And they are through that fast right-hander. Brake. Then there he goes. Luckily, the Boatley can pick up a curb or two without unsettling the car too much. And it looks like Spool's going to try to have another go at Jorge Barrera, who's ahead of him. Ed Kerstetter, unfortunately, dying back a little bit. He is only now 9.8 seconds away from Riley Manier in his position. But with that amount of time, 5 minutes 45 seconds to go. Barring if Riley makes one mistake through this end of this race, he has significant damage to his car. You can clearly see that some things did happen. There was one point of contact with these drivers early on in the race. We have car number 27 and car number 28 of Ed Kerstetter and Menier did make contact with each other, as well as car number 42 and car number 28 made contact, and car number 42 is Becco, and that is a back marker contact. And then, yeah, so Ed Kerstetter's had a couple incidences, not of his own making, and some of possibly of his making. It's not quite sure. Only a replay would be able to let us know that factor, but anything's possible. We did see Riley Menier in practice. Well, I did see him. He hit some of those walls going up to Mount Panorama, so it's possible he hits another wall. That would be the end of P1 for him. It's Jarek Snyder still on the tack of Mo Vassell. Wonder if it's going to happen now. The track is fast, which means these drivers can make some significant changes to their driving styles. In an endurance race, it's already hard mentally tasking to be continuing to drive. Oh, look at that. And there it is. There is a driver off in a corner, and Jarek Snyder takes P15. I knew it was going to happen eventually. This is a long race, and it just goes to show you mistakes can be made right at the end, and to no fault of the driver, he's now struggling to maintain that car. That was not the commentator's curse on that one. And let's just briefly go on board with this driver and see where he's at. Let's do... see how a professional like Riley Menier here in P1 takes one of the turn 21, 22, and 23. There's that right-hander that's 21. This is 22 on the left-hander, and then 23 is right here. That might be 22. Maybe 20, 21, 22. This is 23. 23 corners to this track. This would be 23. Still maintains a strong position here. EverSimU, hey, thank you for the follow. Everyone here really appreciates that. Just mostly clean league here as we try to maintain some good stewarding. Anything that you saw on track that might have been egregious. Actually, honestly, as much as this has been an hour and 40 minutes so far, coming to a close with 2 minutes left to go, we didn't actually see anything malicious or of ill intent happen, or even massive racing incidences. We saw drivers go off on their own. We did see some slight contact, and I'm sure there's going to be some notes in the stewarding post-race. This is a post-race stewarding event. All of our races are. We don't have live stewarding, but if there was a penalty to be made, we reserve those for the next race, whether it be a quality ban or a time penalty, or at the end of the race on your overall, or points deducted from your driving standings. And everyone's pretty fair. They do multiple stewards will take a look at a section to see whether or not someone's at fault or if it's a racing incident. Riley Menier, I believe, as he goes through this sector, this might be the final lap. Only way to tell is if we go into a cockpit cam. Let's see here. It is not final lap yet, so I think.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap.
Okay,
Take it away,
here we
King.
go. Leaders on the final lap. That's a little friendly hello. I'm right behind you. Don't punt the P1 driver and let him go by. With Austin Chen of Morton Salt Racing right behind him. The gap from Ed Kerstetter to Riley Menier is about 11 seconds. That's still enough time for him to catch up to him if Riley has an incident. But he just needs to maintain a clean race. And Reggie King of RHD Racing having a go at Mo Vassell again. Goes on the outside. Overtakes him. Ooh, I think he clipped that corner a little bit. Where's that car number 88? Whoa. Did everybody just hear a gun go off? Felt like a bomb just hit my ears, but I wasn't sure what happened. That's weird. Okay. Ooh, car number 49. Car number 49. Oh, Vassell had a little bit of an incident there. Now his hood is... Ooh, he's definitely struggling to maintain good race control. That is some aero. Yeah, I don't know what to say there, Ripper, as something just like big explosion occurred. Oh no. He is really... This must be a struggle. His aero is affected so much so that he's unable to maintain a straight line. There you have it. Riley Menier of the Team Adidas Parlay now holds P1 for probably the driver standings as well as this race. He started in P2. He landed himself in P1. What a terrific performance from him, as well as Ed Kerstetter, who is P2 from the 949 Sim Racing team in that Porsche. He is now going to probably be ahead of Josh Willis, who is the driver standings leader here in this series. He's going to get third place points. It may be enough to keep him on top, but it may not. I forget where the P3 goes on that, on terms of points that they earn. And why even fight at the end here? As that's Constable Cody Wassam going ahead of him. I think Spa's a great track to test your limits there. Josh Willis, P3. He goes across the line. Great job from him as Mike Burkhoff is still holding out there. Andrew Pickrell already crossed the line, so he's going to be P5. Mitch McConnell's in P6. Eric Miller, P7. That's great points for the Flying Lizards Motorsports, who have not been able to secure some good points up until now. So that's a great job for them. Ray Frias and Morton Salt, great points, P7. P8. Constable Cody Wassam, P9. Spool is going to cross the line at P10. Barrera's P11. Raza's P12. Cassian's P13. Cronota's 14. Snyder 15. Provolone 16. Vassell 17. King 18. McKeesey 19. Becco 20. Chen 21. Lindauer 22. There was several other drivers that went as well. That they have all barred to drop out. We did start this race with over 32 drivers on the grid, and that's where we ended. So we got a couple drivers here. I'm going to jump in, and we'll start with the race winner. Congratulations, Riley Menier and Josh Willis. I will congratulate Ed when he gets here, but Riley, what a fantastic performance. quali was it was on the edge. You almost had a possibility to get P1, but right in that third sector, you lost a little bit of time, and that was all the time that you needed. And you just needed like literally less than a tenth, not
I
even.
know. I
And
lost it in the final corner. I had 3/10 going to the final corner and then brake too late. I
yeah,
messed up, but I don't care. I'm very
it
happy with
it
the
was no,
weekend's
and
events.
that was it was a very close quali, but it put you into a good spot. You were you f- drove next to him a lot of that race, and then you made the decision to stay out, which gave you a lot of room to maneuver. You ended up getting out ahead of him by 15 seconds, which was really impressive. How do you feel about that?
I had so much fun racing Ed. That was a blast. He and I think we were trading. I think positions. It felt like left and right. I know I tapped him a few times. I gave those positions back because I didn't feel like it was a fair move. So when I finally passed him fairly and we were able to race kind of like nose to tail that entire hour that we raced together was so much fun. And then I know that I think I'm wondering if Ed just didn't have the fuel to continue, but I knew that I needed to stay out on the wets just because I knew I could still make up pace. So staying out was I think the right choice. And then when I came back out, I struggled a bit to warm up the tires, and I think Ed gained on me till it was about 4 seconds, and then I started to pull, and I felt more comfortable. So I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you had the fastest lap on track, and whether I mean maybe he had some fuel issues, but it looked like his pit was pretty standard. He went in 30 seconds for tires, and he got back out. Maybe he was slowed up a little bit by his fuel, but
I can
just
answer that if you
oh
want me to step in
yeah,
or
step
I'd
in.
love it.
yeah, good race there, Riley. That was a lot of fun. So kudos on the win, and I mean in the wet that was crazy.
Yeah, that was so much
Racing,
fun.
yeah, like, it was fun because like, I mean, like not having much on the wet here, like it was tippy toeing the first few laps, and then you could okay, I can go in here a little bit quicker, I can go in there a little bit quicker, and then it drying out really like was like, okay, where else can we push? So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
and so what happened? So I was low on fuel, so I stayed out as long as I could. I would have liked to stay out 3 or 4 more laps, and then I just botched the tire pressures. So they were good for the first 5 laps coming out because the track I think was still damp at that point. Um, and then they went up to like they were like beach balls. They were 30.5, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
So
You would have
no,
had
that
me
was
then.
cool though. It was interesting because I was catching in the beginning, and then it kind of evened out, and then I saw you ran like a 203 or 204, and I was like, I can't get down that far. So, um, but it was a lot of fun. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No, that's a
Riley's interview there,
no.
but just
Hey, that's
provide some
exactly what we're trying
context
to.
there.
Yeah, that's a great context. So Riley, you know what happened, and honestly, it was a fantastic race from both of you as well as everybody on the track. But to maintain such a close consistency throughout the first half of the race during the wet, when you both literally split away for over like 10 to 15 seconds, the both of you, and then it was just a conscious effort for Riley to maintain staying out longer than Ed did, and I think that's really where he ended up maintaining a good pace overall.
Yeah,
So
that was definitely the
congratulations, Riley.
situation. Yeah, I had to pit at that time too because I could not have run another lap. So if I could go out on another lap on the wets, I probably would have, but I just didn't have the fuel. Uh, I also every time I felt like the entire first stint that we were running, uh, felt like I kept tapping the wall, tapping the wall. I ended up with 26 seconds worth of damage at the end, but I was just trying to hold it around the track, and I think yeah, it was tough, but I had a lot of fun. Thanks, Ed, for that great racing.
Thank you. That was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. So congratulations, Riley. Ed, on to you. You were literally pulling, and you kind of already answered this, but you were about 6 seconds away from catching Riley Manier, and then at one point you just started dying on him. Was that because of your tire pressure issue?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was quick, for sure. And I think his was probably a little bit lower the first few laps coming up to temp as the track dried out, and mine was good those first few, and then just went like balloons kind of after that. It was still by far it was manageable, but I think I was lacking maybe a half second a lap on average. So it would have been I would have definitely came out behind because I had 7 seconds of damage that I chose to fix, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea
Yeah, I think that would have
in the
made
world.
all the difference.
Yeah, but I also thought like, okay, I fixed the damage. I can probably come out a few seconds behind and then close the gap. I just didn't take into account that I completely missed the tire pressures. So
Yeah. Well, exceptional race overall. I mean, both of you guys did fantastic, and it's not to say like that was great racing side by side. You did have some contact once through Hell's Corner, I believe. Um, if I'm not mistaken, that was you guys. But
is Hell's Corner the second corner after the first long straight?
First corner is hell.
first corner.
I think we had contact. I think we went side by side up the mountain for a lap too. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's easier to say the corners we didn't have contact at one point than,
Okay, yeah.
than we did. But it was fun. It was just hard racing,
Rubbing is racing. So congratulations to both of you. And then now on to Josh. Sensational race. I think you started P7 or P8 on the grid, and you were able to pull into P3. What factors were brought into that? Was it the pits that people were doing, the strategic pits that made no sense to me that people were pitting so early on wet?
So I mean, I knew immediately that I didn't want to pit early because the weather is variable. We don't know what it's going to do, and with the time multiplier, it could either stay raining the whole time or it could stop. So I wanted to run as long as I could, and like Riley said, if he could have ran another lap, he would have. I would have done the exact same thing. I filled up to a certain amount and just needed one more lap, but I also did the same thing as that. I ballooned my tires, at least the rears, so I had an imbalance in the car. And on the first stint, I collected a good bit of damage on Goopel because he spun on me right in front, and I tapped him, so that was rough. I didn't repair because I thought it wasn't really affecting me on the first stint, but it was big for the second stint. I was losing a lot of time in the straights. So I just had to mitigate the losses and hope that I could hold on to the third position that I built up in the beginning.
It was a fantastic build-up because from the race leads, there was a full 2-sector difference between P2 and P3, and then P3 was a full sector difference to P4, and then so forth down the line. It started to really stagger, and so seeing significant drivers in P5 right next to P10, and you just thinking to yourself, well, how is this happening? There's a lot of fast pace coming up from the top 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was not really battling Wass's lap traffic, but he was faster than me in most of the track. But I just was able to stay ahead of him. But if things were a little different, I would have lost a lot of pace there to a lot of the drivers if I didn't build up that gap in the beginning.
Yeah, well, congratulations to all three of you. I'm excited to see where the points differential shows up in this race because at the start of this race, the standings were Josh Willis P1, Riley Benier P2, and Ed Kerstetter P3 in the driver standings. And since Riley won and Ed came in second, and you're in third, it's a real shakeup. I'm wondering where the point system's going to go out so I can see where you guys end up at the end. But fantastic overall.
I think because of the drop race, I was actually in fourth. So I think this is going to pull me up a bit. So I'm happy about that.
Really?
Already thinking about the drop. Yeah, already thinking about the drop race. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And, we're just going to sign off here. Everybody have a great evening. This has been the Tracklicious Sim Racing community. We're just doing our endurance race here. Follow us on the GT4 race on Thursday, as well as the Porsche Cup on Saturday this week. All right, bye.